Undermine is finally out after going through its early access, and we're left with an action roguelike that is a good but not great take on the genre, sadly. Our concept here is that we are peasants for a kingdom that have been tasked with exploring the procedurally generated Undermine, full of various biomes, traps, dangers, and of course loot. For the actual gameplay, you are able to jump, that's also your dodge, attack with your pickaxe, and throw it to deliver range-based attacks. Each biome is set around similar to the Biome of Isaac, meaning fixed rooms that are procedurally stitched together. The enemy types are locked to their biomes in the base version of the game. We'll come back to that topic in a few minutes. As you explore, you are looking for treasures or relics, which provide passive benefits, blueprints that can be turned in back at the persistent element in order to unlock new gear, and of course, various items like bombs, keys, and so on. Now, as you play through Undermine, a key aspect of its design, and what kind of separates it from the other roguelikes or lights on the market, are the persistent elements. After a run, all the accumulated gold is used back at your home base here. And as you play through Undermine, you unlock various side quests that will basically give you more things to spend your gold on. This includes being able to afford new potions that can show up, upgrade your basic stats such as increased attack, more health, different benefits, as well as additional systems such as a curse hex mechanic that is very interesting. But when you play through Undermine, a big aspect of this game, and kind of what makes it a roguelite, is how much the persistence will become a factor of playing it. It is possible, again, with the roguelike mode, in order to beat the game without needing too many unlocks, but for most players, you're going to be spending your time getting the resources you need in order to supplement your ability. And this is a big point, especially when it comes to some of the boss fights, who, without having sufficient upgrades in attack, can be a little damage spongy. But the persistence is certainly a key aspect of this game, and it allows players who aren't as good at the basic combat in order to get ahead. Now, returning to the idea of the curse blessing system, I want to spend a few minutes on that because I really like it from a design perspective. After you complete a specific side quest, you unlock the ability to receive blessings and curses as you play through Undermine. Blessings are what you see along the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, and they provide passive benefits, everything from getting more health, increasing your damage, to crazy things such as being able to get additional resources and making life easier for you. But you can also get curses and hexes as well. These will be negatives, and they can be as small as, reduce your attack speed, to something nasty like having fire randomly rain down in your room to cause damage for you. And you are able to remove curses at various shrines, or by finding an anti-curse talisman either in a shop or treasure room. And it's a great way of providing a little bit more risk-reward of playing through Undermine. That you can get something good, but are you willing to take a negative? And more importantly, are you able to find a way to remove that negative some point further in? And Undermine from a moment-to-moment standpoint definitely works. Everything in terms of combat and basic motion feel good in the player's hands, and you can definitely see kind of all the gears turning in terms of its roguelite atmosphere. With that said, however, I do have a few complaints coming at this more from the expert side of things, and why this game may not be as deep as the mines that we're exploring. And we're going to talk about that next, but first, a quick break. And now for a quick shout out to our current Game Wisdom supporters and sponsors. Going forward, all Patreon supporters will get early access to our videos. And if you'd like to continue this discussion on game design, be sure to check out our Discord channel, link down below. If you're looking for more wisdom about game design, be sure to check out my latest offering of books, 20 Essential Games to Study, aimed for first-time developers and students looking for some inspiration for their upcoming games, and Game Design Deep Dive Platformers if you're interested in anything regarding 2D and 3D platforming design. They're both available in print, digital, and wherever books are being sold. With Undermine, my first major complaint with this game is that it doesn't really have the variance that we see from other roguelikes, like Binding of Isaac, Dead Cells, Enter the Gungeon, and so on. And a big part about that has to do with the general tech of the game. As I said in the last part, your three core abilities, attack, range, and jump, are consistent from beginning to end. And my issue is that there's nothing there or nothing in the game at the moment that really changes that. You do get relics that maybe will increase your attack range, maybe give your pickaxe a spread kind of effect, but it's nowhere near the same amount of game-changing runs as we see from other roguelikes. Again, in Binding of Isaac, getting something like Brimstone or Epic Fetus will completely change how your run plays out. From playing Undermine, I did not find anything that did just that. Items are there to supplement your ability, and that is kind of the MO of the whole persistence system. If you're really good at this kind of gameplay, you're not going to need to rely on it as much as somebody who isn't. But what this does in effect is that it starts to make the runs feel a little bit on the repetitive side. Compounding things in that regard is that a run through this game can be on the long side, and I was clocking it at about 45 minutes to an hour going through the basic campaign. And that is also keeping in mind that once you beat a boss in the normal run, you do not have to fight that character again until you beat the entire game and unlock the looping mechanism. And I do have to give developers praise that there is a lot of things that kind of become unlocked and unravel the better and the further you play through Undermine. There's not footage of it here that I have captured, but once you have officially beaten the base game, you unlock the Other Mine. And this is basically Undermine's true roguelike mode. How it works is that you enter it, and you are forced to choose from random upgrades and curses, and you're given a randomized set of buffs to then explore the dungeon completely untethered. And what that means is that there's different room layouts, the biomes are laid out randomly, and you're not able to kind of predict what to expect as much as compared to a typical run of Undermine. The game also, when you beat it, unlocks a hex system or a super curse system where you can make it even harder for yourself if you want that challenge. And there is also looping, that every time you beat the game all the way, you can unlock a harder version to kind of keep pace in terms of the persistent elements. And I really do like those systems. But my problem is that I don't feel the reason to replay this one as much as playing something like Binding of Isaac or Enter the Gungeon, where in those titles your runs can drastically differ based on the RNG at play. Undermine is a lot more stricter in that aspect, for good and for ill. And I would say that if you are somebody who played something like Enter the Gungeon or Dead Cells and found them to be too demanding or too difficult for you, Undermine is a very solid roguelite, or roguelike, however you want to describe in terms of what mode you're playing in that regard. But if you are somebody who has played those games and you're looking for something of suitable or greater challenge and depth, Undermine, I don't think is going to work for you. And I am going to be very interested to see how the developers kind of square that circle in terms of post-release. Will they add more elements to further push the roguelite-ness of it? Or will they add more considerations and challenges to make the game more roguelike-ish? And yes, those are two different terms for those of you listening here. All in all, I'm walking away from Undermine enjoying the game, but kind of wishing that there was more in terms of item diversity. And I know that this is something developers spend a lot of time on. And if you're interested in hearing what they had to say, I will include a link to my recorded interview with them that I just did. For those of you who have played this, I'm curious what you think of it, especially at the high end of the play, and playing through on the Undermine difficulty. With that said, I would like to thank developers for giving me a press key to check this one out. And again, while I may come down, I think, ultimately negative, it's important to understand that you're talking to somebody who has played a ton of roguelikes and roguelites and is writing a book on that design. So I kind of come from these games looking at things from the expert point of view. But this is certainly a competent and well-designed roguelike. If you'd like me to take a look at your game in the future, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Check out our Discord and Patreon link down below, and come back for daily discussions on game design here, and on game wisdom, where some of the art and science of games. Until next time, this has been Undermine, and take care. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoy things, be sure to do all the liking and subscribing that the kids are doing these days. Check out our Discord channel link down below where we hang out and chat game design, and come back later tonight for our regular streamings. But that's it, and tune in for more great content here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games.